an open mind. To me, what's really important is for high school students to, especially during ninth grade, to get into high school and explore. Join different clubs, participate in different volunteer activities, volunteer work. Find sports that you find interesting. Academically, take as many courses as you can that are interesting to you. Explore. That's really, really important in ninth grade to me. So I think what's important really is in 10th grade to start, identifying certain fields of study that you feel like you could see yourself specializing in. I think, you don't necessarily have to say at that point, aha, I really like organic chemistry and I want to do organic chemistry for the rest of my life. It's going to be difficult, right? So I think keeping an open mind and understanding more or less, well, I'm clearly sciences oriented. I really like my biology class and I think I like medicine. Well, I think one way of making sure that you are capitalizing on that interest is, by maybe joining a summer program that is relevant to that field of study. Maybe start doing some research. Maybe join a summer program that is research oriented. Or perhaps you can start, joining a club, starting your own club that is relevant to, and start, these conversations with specialization. Specialization is pretty important, especially for those majors, STEM majors that are impacted. For example, a student who's really interested in computer science and wants to attend a top university in computer science, if you make that decision in 12th grade, it's going to be really, really hard. So, you normally have to know more or less what steps to take in order to find the right major for you, and then identifying, how selective this major is going to be in the college application process. If it happens to be something like computer science or pre-med biology or engineering, then sometimes you need to start, very early in 10th grade to show specialization and explore it and make sure that you have, you have well-roundedness. Of course, well-roundedness is always going to be valued, but also showing some clear specialization, and you're taking a lot of initiative in the right steps to specialize, even in high school. If a student decides to apply undeclared, which I think it's fair to do, my suggestion is normally not going for undeclared, but for some students it may make sense. And if they want to do that, I would say, what's important is to show that you've explored many different fields, that you like all of them, and you just yet haven't decided which one you want to continue exploring. That doesn't mean that you don't want to do any specialization work, that you don't want to do any research, that you don't want to do any summer programs, that you don't want to do anything. I think a student that has done different research, and let's say maybe they did a research project in history, and then they did a summer program in biology and another one in math, and you have like all these different exploration moves, it is fair to do undecided and say, hey, I'm still exploring. I don't have something very set in mind right now. I'm applying to a college that has a liberal arts approach, so why not? I think it's sometimes difficult to create a narrative for that student. It's sometimes easier to find a narrative, for example, for a student who, and this has happened many times for me with my students, a student who, did a little bit of computer science and then they didn't like it. And then they did more of humanities and social sciences focus, and then some English focus. And then, well, we're going to find programs that are going to combine those different things. STS, science, technology, and society programs at top universities. It's a growing major that it's in one way or another, present in most universities. And by talking about your experiences with technology and computer science, your experiences with history and government, and your experiences with English combined into this sort of like, my thing is being a bridge between technology and society. It's going to be much easier to create a meaningful, powerful narrative than for a student who's undeclared. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't do it, but it's sometimes a little bit more complicated to create a meaningful narrative and profile for that student. Computer science. So computer science programs are, in my opinion, the most selective programs. They happen to have fierce competition, a lot of demand, not a lot of room, a lot of students who are very, very talented in coding at a very young age. Coding has become almost a sport for younger generations. So you have students in ninth grade, 10th grade who are coding at the same level or similar level than software engineers at Google. So it's a strange phenomenon where you have students who have a skill and they really work on it to shape it and hone it, and then those students take on a lot of projects, and so it becomes a really, really competitive field, and that shows in the college application process, that shows with acceptance rates, that shows in just the entire process. So that was that's one of the reasons why computer science to me is probably the most selective major. The majors in the College of Engineering in general happen to be also pretty competitive, and also the School of Business. The reason why that's the case, it's because in most cases, you're applying to the School of Engineering or the School of Business directly, and not the College of Arts and Science. And when a student who's interested in biology has the option to choose as a major psychology or environmental science or history or philosophy or whatever they want, they have the option of doing that and then just studying biology. But when it comes to engineering or business, it is really difficult to transfer from the College of Arts and Science into the College of Engineering or into the College of Business. So students who are interested in engineering generally apply to the College of Engineering, and the same goes for the students in business. So that creates more selective process and more impacted majors within those schools. Start early. And this is true for students in STEM and students in business. The sooner you start with specialization, the better. I always a big proponent of something that I call the cornerstone or the capstone project, in which students starting in 10th grade have like this project that they take as their baby, and they develop it over the course of 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. Sort of like a project that ends up combining the many different things that make the student unique. So I've had students, for example, who developed a drone that is used to demine landmines in areas that were war zones. The student developed and patented a drone to detect the mines and remove them. And this was a project that started, we had the earliest conversations in 10th grade, and we developed that into a project that is true, right? It's still ongoing while the student is in college. So those type of projects that the student takes in, and this project is particularly important because the student was really interested in engineering, obviously, but also in international relations, social justice, questions of war. So it combined many of the many different interests that the student had into a project that really represents the student. And I think more and more, I've been able to identify that students who are successful, both in business and School of Engineering applications, have such projects, that, beyond the leadership, beyond the DECA awards or the FIRST awards or the debate and, very selective summer programs or all of that, they have something else. They have something that, combines the different things that culminate sort of like the high school experience of the student, and that clearly represents the narrative and the story that the student wants to put forth. I think that has been true for the students that I talked about that were successful in the ED round. They all had that. Every single one of them had something similar, and these are students that I've worked with for many years, and they all developed this kind of thing. And it's really important, in my opinion, when we're talking about top universities, especially in the fields of STEM and business.